Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Spotlight. In the studio today we have Sean Manley, owner of Manley Studios. Welcome to the studio, Sean.
Thanks. It's really great to be here.
Awesome stuff. Right, Sean, you've been working with so many people over the past few years, and you've been doing so many projects all around South Africa and all around the world. Please tell us a little bit more about who you are as a person, also where you come from, and sort of what you've been busy with in the last few years.
Cool. Okay. Well, I started off. I've always lived in Pretoria, and I was fortunate enough to be able to study music at TUT, and I played in many bands, and then slowly started to become a bit more of a session guitarist, and that got me interested in the studio. And I started my own recording studio. I've probably been recording music since about the year 2000, and I think I'm just really fortunate to have met some awesome people and to be able to help them with their music, and that is why I may have the credit list that you mentioned, but it's not me. It's just being able to help them and to be able to help develop these people. Some of them I met when they were very much younger than they are now, and not at all well known, including Robbie. I met him at a music shop, and he was just playing it.
Is this Robbie Vessels?
This is Robbie Vessels, yes.
Oh, yeah?
I met him at a music store, and he was just jamming guitar, and he had these fun songs, and he was playing at Maloney's, which is a venue that used to be in Hatfield. And I really didn't know anything about Afrikaans music. I had a look, and I saw, wow, the people like him, and it was fun music, and I enjoyed the songs. And although I'm English speaking, I can understand Afrikaans well enough to know that the lyrics were funny. And we started to record his project. And a friend of mine, when it was finished, it was obviously a process to get the album done. And a friend of mine said to him, "Remember that guy you recorded, that Afrikaans guy?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "I hear his songs in the traffic." I'm like, "What?" It's like somebody must have bought it. So this is like really awesome. So then I kind of, wow, okay. And then before that there was SPOTLiGHT, which was really where I came from, recording bands. I love to record a band. Get a band in, try to do as much as you could together. I had a very small studio, or at least get the feeling to the listener that these guys were all jamming together, and that I loved. So that was the band.
And then how many years ago was SPOTLiGHT and those events?
I'm here for music. I don't know the math part. Sure, long, eh?
Was it
long, like
time,
early
yeah?
2000s.
Early 2000s.
Yeah.
Wow, so you guys have come quite a long way.
Come a long way. I knew nothing. I knew nothing about music or recording music.
Right, so from the stage that you knew almost nothing in the industry and nothing about music and production, up to now where you own one of the most successful studios in Pretoria, what was the process like going through that?
Well, I think obviously a lot of hard work. I think you have to just get into a zone of to better yourself, listen to a previous album, see what faults you or mistakes you made, and try and learn more about each element. So for example, if you're miking up a drum kit, try and learn more about that. If you're recording a bass guitar, are there better ways to record it? Obviously buying equipment is a part of it, but also learning to use what you have and what you can afford. Learning the software better, learning to edit properly, learning each element to its full. And if you feel you've got a gap, actually, I used to stop. In fact, I actually, at times, just between me and you, put a project on hold to make sure that I could get the information that I needed to finish it correctly, or phone a friend.
See, so you had to sort of adapt into this growth mindset, and
definitely.
Also having patience with doing it right rather than just doing it because you have to do it. That's very inspiring, Sean.
The one thing, sorry, I just wanted to quickly add, is that the artists that you record also can help you a lot.
I see.
Because they usually have a vision for their music. So if you just listen carefully to what they want, then it gives you already a growth path. Because the guy's going to come with new energy. And the same with session musicians, like you had Bruce, great drummer. And there's many great musicians in Pretoria alone, and those people, getting them in on projects is part of your growth.
So being in the music industry for more than a decade and a half now, I think you can vouch for all the change that's been taking place around you, and you know, things aren't the same as they were anymore. What would you say were the biggest changes, and also where is the industry going towards?
Okay, cool. Yeah. The biggest changes is obviously technological advances. So to approach it negatively would be wrong. I think a lot of people who've been in the industry a long time might see negative things. The point is the technology is way better than it was. So because it's better, we have opportunity to download songs or listen to it on a streaming platform or whatever. So that changes music. The biggest change, I think, is that music quality needs to be higher. You cannot release an album with 2 great songs on it and the rest of the album's for your aunt. The whole album needs to be something that people would want to stream and listen to and enjoy. So I think that's where it's going. I don't think it's ever going to go back to being able to record 2 singles and a whole lot of filler material. So that means songwriting. Zander, who was there last week, you know, she would have said, you know, the quality of the song needs to be better. The quality of the production needs to be better. Although the studios are getting smaller, it doesn't mean it can sound any worse. It's got to sound better. There's no excuse these days. I mean, you can get a pretty good mic for 2 or 3 grand, and you can get a decent mic for 8 grand. So it's not a question of that anymore. So what does it mean for somebody where's it all going? Skills. You need to have you need to develop your skill set as far as possible. So there's a kid in a bedroom somewhere now today while we're listening to this, producing an EDM track that would be killer, you know, and that's where it's going.
Yeah. If you look at all these different genres, would you say that music's going to change radically within the next few years, or would you say that it's going to be, you know, roughly an iteration of what we got now, but just with a different message?
Sure, that's a good question. All I can tell you is I think it's about mixing styles. So, for example, you would start off, you know, if you go back, it was rock. Rock mixed with other styles becomes a form of pop. Pop evolves. Pop used to be more rock-based. Pop can also be more country-based. Pop nowadays is more hip-hop-based or EDM-based. So I think it evolves as the styles evolve. So I think it's more cross-pollination. So it's also an interesting thing that I've realized is you cannot be, I'm going to be in South Africa a country producer. Not going to happen. You need to just be a producer and be happy to get involved in all styles, which is easier said than done.
Right, so enough of the past. What is currently happening at Manley Studios that's exciting, and what can we look forward to?
Okay, well, we're very excited because we finished an album for Johnny M, and it's the first single is going to go to the radios, I think it's around the 5th of October. So that's for us very exciting. And then recently we also did a single for Vickers Botma, and I'm busy with a single for Second Life. And a little bit further back, we finished I've done 3 albums for Rikus now, and the last one was his tribute to Worsie Visser. So that's a lekker party treffer kind of album, which is really, really awesome. So that's fun. And then we're busy with a lot of up and coming people, which I guess is where my passion lies. So we help them, like Zander mentioned last week, with songwriting. We help them with production. We also help them get some direction, try to see where they would fit into the market. We also have so we want to get more involved, and we are involved with artist development. So we can offer people a little bit more than just recording. We can offer them option to make a little in-studio video, and whatever we feel will help them further get themselves a bit more on the map. Yeah. All
right, so you mentioned artist development. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay, well, I see artist development as, I think, the role of almost any producer, that you look at the artist and you try to understand what they're doing and where they should go, and you help them. So if they're missing a skill set, such as the person needs to maybe get some help with the songs. Maybe you're a producer, not really a songwriter, and like in my case. So I've got somebody like Xander, she can help with the songs. We've also actually got a team of songwriters that can help develop the songs and make sure that that's, you know, better. And then it can be anything, and it's also nothing to be ashamed of, but maybe a singer needs just a little bit of help vocally, training wise, in the sense that to help them not hurt their voice. Maybe they're doing 3-4 shows a week, and at the end of the week they can barely talk. So no, that's a problem. They need to be developed in that way. And then these days a very important part of it could also just be marketing, you know, in terms of teaching them how to market yourself using social media, but also using all the platforms. So those are the things we're interested in, helping to develop people and getting involved with educating artists, basically.
I've seen this case pop up more times than one, and this is where people are, some guys are really, really good at singing, but not really good at writing songs. So would this be a solution to them, and how can that benefit them?
Absolutely. So in other words, if you're a great singer and you don't really write, or you write a little bit, you could either get someone in to complete a song, or somebody can be commissioned to actually write you a song, which is obviously you need the right person, because you need them to understand your headspace. Doesn't help they write you a song that isn't where you want to go, but if you can build the right relationships with those people, you could definitely do it that way. Yeah.
And looking also at the industry at the moment, would you advise people to spend more time at, if you say good at writing songs, then spend more time at writing songs than, you know, doing everything like singing, also performing, writing songs, doing tours, management, marketing? I mean, it's overwhelming eventually. It's just so many things. So would you advise people to actually start outsourcing this, and that would lead in essence to a better outcome?
It's a very, very interesting question, because you have two things, because you would want to be diverse.
Yes.
Because this is South Africa and it's a small country. Not that it's a negative thing, but you need to be a bit more diverse. But on the other hand, you're absolutely right, because if you're a fantastic songwriter and you can write quite a few more songs than what you could ever afford to record, you might as well let other people sing them. So I think each case needs to be checked out for its own merits, you know. But I think what you are getting to, which is what I'm into, is I think collaboration is the trick. So we are sitting here in the southern point of Africa, we tend to feel a bit isolated, and I think sometimes we are even here isolating ourselves. If we were to collaborate a little bit more, then you would go, hey, that guy's a killer singer, better than I am. I can write him a song, then he can do something, and together form a stronger unit. Because that's the concept of a band, isn't it? That you get the best of each element in a band. So if you can, because these days it's not so band driven, a lot of solo artists, or in styles like hip hop, there is no really band kind of situation. But then to collab, I think, would help a lot.
So you would also say that the team, like together, everyone achieves more. If they work in teams, then there's much less pressure in terms of, you know, having to do everything at once.
Absolutely.
Where you can have individuals specializing in certain fields.
Exactly.
That's so interesting. Going back to Manley Studios, what's your favorite part of the day? What sort of activities are your most favorite ones?
Okay, well, I would say making a good strong cup of tea. I think I would have answered your question as mixing, because I always felt that was your last chance to make a song better, you know. But because of the workflow these days and technology, I think the arrangement of the song, which parts are in it and so on, I think that is the most important part. Obviously, apart from the song itself, because if you haven't got a good song, then you already are at a huge disadvantage. So for me, it's arrangement, and I find I mix much less than I arrange. And if my arrangement is good, mix is easy. If the arrangement is not so good, the mix can be tricky. So that answers.
Yeah, it does resonate with me a little bit. It's a case of almost like done is better than perfect, whereas you can add in all these elements to write songs. But I mean, if you look at bands, the way they've been doing things, it's been guitar, bass guitar, drums. The standard elements are there, but the only thing that changed is the the sequencing and the way the song structure is laid out. And I think it's very, very valuable, the advice you give to us there, in terms of we must focus more on changing, the structure, but don't really necessarily, go and search for something that isn't there and reinvent the wheel, sort of a thing.
For sure. For us, it's always been the quest for the ultimate plug-in or the ultimate mix tool, which is not really. It's more about your skill set.
Most definitely. So what is your favorite plug-in?
I don't know, any of those distortion things from Sound Toys.
Those distortion things.
Yeah, like the radiator
Alright.
one or the decapitator.
I see.
Sounds violent for those that don't know what it is.
Cool. Right, so that brings me to my next question, and that would be the number one question I would personally want to know. I really want you to dig deep into this. What sort of advice would you give future generations and future engineers and producers out there?
Well, in terms of getting better, I would just say practice your production as if it's an instrument. Try to figure out new things, even if you haven't maybe got a project to work on. Invent something. If it's mixing you want to work on and getting a more polished sound, practice. Have a look at I can give you quick examples, like for example, just take a instrument, pick any instrument and just throw everything you can think of at it, plug-in wise and technically wise and reverb wise and delay wise, and just see what happens. Push the boundaries. That would be my advice. But most important, attitude. So in other words, try to learn to work with people, try to learn to collaborate with people, learn to be humble, accept criticism, try to understand where the person's coming from, try to help them, because your job as a producer is to help the artist achieve their goal.
All right, Sean, so if people out there want to know more, if they want to contact you, how can we get in touch with you?
Well, I think one option is I've got a Facebook page called Manley Recording Studios. If you can like my page, that'll be cool. You're welcome to use Messenger. You're welcome to send me an email, and I have a website as well. So you can pop me a mail or pop me a message, and I'll be happy to answer any questions or get involved with any projects.
Right, and everyone remember, all the links will be attached below, so go and click on it. All right, thank you very much for coming through today, Sean, and taking time out of your very, very busy schedule. I hope to see you again.
Cool, thank you. Thank you very much, Paul, and thank you to Emendy, and I really enjoyed being here. Have a lucky day.
Awesome. Catch us on our next episode, and as always, thanks for watching. And if you're interested in starting a career in the multimedia industry in South Africa, please go download our free ebook. The link will be attached in the description below. Have a great week.